someone had a weak body part, how might you approach that scenario? I would love for you to elaborate on that.
See, this is where it becomes like it becomes an area where there's so many variables now. So, if somebody comes to me and they say, listen, I want to bring my arms up, that's a question I get a lot. What can I do to bring my arms up? There's so many things we could look at. So number one, obviously, if it's a specific body part, first thing you always have to address is, how you're training it. So technique is number one. A lot of times that can solve the issue for most people, just addressing the technique, addressing the exercise they're using, because a lot of times people that have a lagging muscle group, a lot of it is due to just poor technique in general. But let's say that we've figured out that it's a technique issue, we've fixed that issue, and it's still a lagging muscle group. Then we have to look at, okay, what type of training volume are you training with? What about the frequency? How is your training structured in a way that allows you to train that muscle group, completely recover, and progressively train over and over again? Now we have to look at, like I said, frequency is probably the next thing I'll look at. If it's a lagging muscle group, your technique is solid, you're training with an appropriate RPE, you're training with enough intensity. If you're training it, let's say once a week, you're probably going to get more out of training it twice a week, like I mentioned. That's general rule of thumb for most muscle groups. But now some muscle groups just need a bit more volume than others. Some people in general require more volume. So you have to look at your volume. If it's maybe something you're training hard and you're doing 5 to 10 sets a week and it's not producing results, I'll definitely experiment and say, listen, we're going to add some more sets and see what your recovery ability is, and see if we're getting better results from that higher frequency, higher volume training. And the one thing I always tell people to look at when you're assessing your training and a specific body part is, don't necessarily worry about soreness. Don't worry about how the training feels itself. Look at, are you making progress over time? So check your performance over time. So if it's a body part, a better example for this one is, like, let's say it's chest. If you're still benching the exact same weight you were 6 months ago and you've added in additional volume, you've added an additional frequency, that might not be the answer. You might have to scale back, let's say. So a lot of times, all these other things that people focus on, they focus on, did I feel the exercise? Did I get pumped? Did I feel sore after? Did I feel like I worked the muscle? They don't necessarily matter, because at the end of the day, if you're making progress on those lifts, that's going to tell you way more than you need to know.
Where are you at now? So you like to train with some reps in reserve. Do you have days where you will take it to the house? And if so, how does that look for you in terms of structure?
Yeah, I would say about 90% of my training is done 1 to 2 reps shy of failure. I will occasionally train to failure on certain exercises. I will maybe regularly train to failure or near failure.